All right, got the mic. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. What I wanted to show you today was, I think you're going to find very, very interesting in regards to how you trade, regardless of the platform that you use. All this data is coming off Sierra, and we're eventually going to configure NinjaTrader to provide us with all the data that Sierra does. Some of it cannot be coded. About 90% of it can be. And I want to show you the way we leverage volume on a much more in a much more sophisticated way. The only thing that I want to do, and I've been working on this for, it's a little bit scary here, but I just want to change this a little bit and show you this. Here we go. Now, here's what we're going to do. I just want to define a couple of things. Now, here is the same quant line that we look at on our NinjaTrader, and this is order flow. I'm sorry, this is momentum. This is order flow, and this is the volume hammer. So these are all identical, and they're providing you with identical data. But what is a little bit different is how volume is configured, and some of the some of the things that we can do to help us trade and decide how we want to trade. Now, I don't even know yet how to draw on this chart, and that's how new it is. And I really have been spending a week listening to videos. There's, their live support's terrible, but they've got, I don't know, many videos, but they're long, and a lot of them are just really poor. So I've put together all this information, and here's what I want to show you. Now we're trading in 8 range just like we normally do, and let's take a look at this summit. Now the value area high is this orange line. The value area low is this orange line, and that's the point of control. And I colored those myself. I removed the histogram because with these lines, I think the histogram becomes irrelevant. Now it's things like this, and I believe, when did this occur? At 10:29. See, this is right at the this is right when there was the crude inventory report. And sometimes it gives you these false bars. We have to figure out how to get rid of them, which we are working on. But there's really nothing here. This is really the candle right here. And this is just error information. So here's what we're going to look at. A few things. First of all, this dotted blue line. Now, we're talking about Sierra, but these are all volume concepts that are applicable to any charting platform. So I don't want you to think that I'm talking about Sierra alone. I'm talking about leveraging volume on any time frame, on any chart, and these are some of the essential components that we need that we're going to work on. Now we have the Sierra chart version up, and it's available. This weekend I'm going to make templates for it, and we still have a few little tiny minute bugs, but it's really ready to go out. Every single indicator is in here. There's the background bias, consolidation, safe zone, strategy indicator. They're all here. Everything's here. All the indicators are done. Now there's a couple of indicators that I put in from Sierra that we're going to make and put onto Ninja. The ones that Ninja allows us to do. Now let me just go over a couple of things. First of all, This is the VWAP, and I've looked at all sorts of different volume metrics. A lot of them are just not helpful, and they don't help you trade. They look really elegant, but they don't increase the precision of your trading. The VWAP happens to be extremely important, and we want to put one on the Ninja platform. And this is the volume-weighted average price. So it's really a moving average, but it's a moving average not based on the average close. Like a 15-period moving average is based on the average close going back 15 candles, if that's the period. This is based on the average volume going back. So it's telling you an average volume amount based on price. Now, a real primitive indicator like this is unbalanced volume, which takes a look at an assessment, and if you look at the inside the OBV, it takes a look at volume, and it also takes a look at price. This is very elegant, and what it tells you is that when you're trading above the VWAP, you want to go long, and when you're trading below it, you want to go short. So it's sort of a volume-based moving average to tell you who's in control of the market at any given time, the bulls or the bears. And when the bulls are in control, when price is above the volume-weighted average price. Bears are in control when price is below the volume-weighted average price. And again, because it moves, you have to be careful of taking your analysis any place except off the right edge. But actually, I think, yeah, actually you can look back. I'm sorry. It doesn't jump. Now, what you get, and I happen to like quite a bit, you'll notice I don't have the delta. I don't like it on Ninja. We took it off. And I don't like it on Sierra. It's gone. I really don't care about the delta of any given candle, because the delta, I want to make a distinction between the two different types of volume that's showing in these candles versus the types of volume that's showing in our candles on NinjaTrader. On NinjaTrader, we're looking at the number of buys and the number of sellers sitting on the dome, not the executed trades. On this platform, you're looking at the actual executed trades at any tick level. So looking at the executed trades, now right now, I have to see if NTA, I don't believe that NinjaTrader provides us with that data. All we get is a bid-ask disparity based on how many traders are sitting on the bid side and how many are sitting on the ask side right here. So it just depends on who is here and who is here. And remember, if you have a difference between the bid is always the lower of the two prices. So if you buy, you're going to buy at the bid. The market's always going to give you the cheaper price. When you sell, you're always going to sell at the more expensive price. It's going to cost you money to sell. You want to sell expensive and you're going to sell cheap. Or I think I got that wrong. You're going to buy right here at the higher price and you're going to sell at the lower price. So here is where you get aggressive sellers. And here is where you get aggressive buyers. They're going to buy that one tick above the bid-ask spread here. And on the futures, there's really essentially no spread, but there really actually is in a sense. So here are the aggressive sellers, and here are the aggressive buyers, right here. We can't tell how many people are actually making an execution, but we can on Sierra. And what I like about this configuration is we don't really have to be so aware. Now, the platform gives you the ability to spread out the data this way and to spread out the data this way. So while you're trading, the candles aren't moving too quickly, and lately, in August, they've been trading so slowly that you can actually open the chart up and just keep reconfiguring it as it goes. You can really actually get a better look at these numbers, but you really don't have to care so much about them. What you want to look at is this yellow line here. Now this yellow encircling a volume is the point of control of each candle. And so obviously the higher, the lighter the tick value, and it's always going to be one of the lightest tick values on the chart, is going to be where most volume is crossed. Now what's going to happen is you're going to look and see whether most volume is below the point of control or above the point of control. And you're going to look for stacked buyers and stacked sellers. But you're going to look for a disparity where there's an intense amount of aggressive buying, like you see here. Now, if we had this information coming right off the 50, now I remember this trade in real time. We didn't have enough data. Here is the order flow indicator, right here. The order flow indicator had turned, but it was very tough to call this trade because we had upside resistance. And then you'll notice on this candle, and I remember this trade real well on crude, number one, the point of control is bracketed with a lot of aggressive buying. The lighter the candle, the more intense the buy-sell action. And I'm going to show you in the numbers bars the settings. You see, it's based on this. And I've been looking at this indicator. When there's a 25% disparity between the buyers and sellers, you get the least difference in color. In fact, this is when there's no disparity. You get this dark color here, or you get the dark green. And then when you get the 25% disparity, the 50% disparity, and the 70% disparity, the colors start getting lighter and lighter and lighter. Now, what I've seen some videos and some traders do, and I've been looking at this, is to remove these colors, like change that to transparent. And I've learned how to do it. You just go to white. I'm not going to do it now, though, because you don't want to necessarily see this candle when the disparity is very little. What you want to see is the intense buying or the intense selling around the point of control. Now, optimally, on a long trade, you want to see more volume above the point of control. You want to see intense buying above or intense selling below the point of control of the candle to take a short trade. And you see the advantage it gave us here. As price came down and hit the 50, we got the most volume execution. Intense buyers came in almost exactly at the 50 to give us the point of control almost sitting right on top of the 50. Now remember, this is occurring in real time, and when it occurs in real time, if we go to the right edge, let me open it up. Now, this one we can't do that with. Got to bring it back. Volume is so light, we're not even getting it. These numbers are changing very, very little. But once the point of control, you see how far out the point of control is? Once the point of control sticks out that far, you're going to be pretty certain it's going to stay. So right now there is no trade that you can take, but you can see in real time, actually the point of control just changed. So you see it's a little bit more complicated when you're trading in real time and a little bit easier to trade when you look back retrospectively or you do a retrospective analysis. But this is what we're looking for. And I can give you example after example of it. And that's the intense buying at an area of support or resistance, stacked intense buyers right here, more volume above the point of control than below the point of control. Now, it's still a tough trade because we're below the VWAP. Now, we just don't take continuation trades right now because there is nothing that we can see on the chart on NinjaTrader that allows us. Now, I'll answer all the questions at the end, so don't worry about if it's confusing or you're getting a little bit lost. Don't be concerned about that. We can't do it. And I think it's going to be very difficult to do under any circumstances. But if we were going to look for a continuation trade without a pullback, this is a very nice place to do it. Here is a better place to do it. You've got a lot of stacked buyers right around the point of control. You've got intense buying. And here's your POC. It's always going to have the most intense buying or the most intense selling. You still have more volume above the POC than below the POC. This histogram is skewed above it. And it really helps guarantee you got a long trade that's going to continue. Now, if you look down, you've got multi-time frame momentum with you, and you've got multi-time frame order flow with you. Now, order flow is an assessment not of the executed trades, but simply the number of traders sitting at the bid and the ask. But it becomes powerful because it's a multi-time frame assessment. And the only difference between this assessment and this assessment is that you get traders and you get institutional orders that are fake. They'll throw them on the bid side or they'll throw them on the ask side, and then they'll pull them off. So the way we have eliminated that problem is by not using the raw data. We take the data of the delta of each candle, put it into a 15 period, and what we use is our modified 15 to create a smooth moving average of the two higher time frames to make both momentum and order flow exceedingly accurate to tell you who's in control of the market, the buyers or sellers. And you'll notice the one thing I will not do is ever take a trade against the direction of order flow. Once in a blue moon, I'll take it with momentum and not order flow, but you really want order flow with you on the trade. Now, the thing that we don't have is the VWAP, which I think is a very, very important metric. And the more that I've looked at it, the more I've seen how much predictive value it has. Now, Sergio is going to configure it if we can do it on the NinjaTrader platform. I don't know if there's enough data to give us one, and I'm going to have to check. And he's working on it now. Because Sierra's opened up a whole new world for us in terms of volume. And you can see on this trade, let's say you were going to consider bailing at the value area high right here. You're going to take the trade out at the value area high. This also helps determine what you're going to do when price is approaching an area of support or resistance. And you'll notice the point of control crosses resistance. So the most volume, the most intense buying is occurring above resistance, and surrounding it are intense buyers. That's what you need to break this area of resistance. And actually, this is the point of control. Then we get to the value area high. And let me bring this down. And you see, we've got the point of control. Now, this is a down candle, but it moves all the way up to here. Now, the point of control is above this area of resistance as well. So price is moved above, so what you're going to, the conclusion you're going to draw is that you're going to get a continuation trade. Now then when price starts to come backwards against you, this is a great place to take out your trade when you're long and you're looking for a pullback. If price hits your point of control, get out of the trade, because that's where you're getting your most area of intense selling now. Now the trade is turned against you. I hope that makes sense. But here's where you've got the other condition in force. And you'll see that when you hit right here, now you're trading above the VWAP. That's always dangerous. But here's the point of control. It's approaching this area of support. It breaks it here on the POC. Now, we've got another area of support here, and it's bouncing here. Because here's the point of control here, and it's above support. Now, I'm trying to read every candle. And obviously, in a lot of these moves, we just don't have an entry. I'm just trying to give you conceptually what you're looking for. And conceptually, you're looking for intense buyers around the point of control being above resistance on a long trade or below support on a short trade. And you see here, there's just nothing to trade. And you have nothing to trade here. I mean, this is a powerful setup. This is a powerful setup, but you still need an entry. And you're trading above the 50, and the point of control is above the 50. And here's the VWAP. So you're between the VWAP and the 50, and you just don't have any trades. Now here is the difficulty is you've got an area of resistance here and another one here. So when you've got stacked areas of resistance, you've got to be very, very careful in taking a trade. And you just don't have any trades. And here's, again, you're hitting another area of resistance, and this point of control is not above this area of resistance. And it doesn't go very far. It comes right back down. This point of control is above support. Doesn't go anywhere. Comes right back up. This point of control is below resistance. And now it's starting to break it. Just don't have an entry. You can see right here, this is where, let me bring this down, we're getting data error. And we have to figure out why this is. But I just wanted you to conceptually understand exactly what we're looking for. We're still looking for a great entry. We're looking for a C candle entry. Sergio's configuring these strategy entries and the consolidation entries. They're on the chart, but we haven't set the multi-time frame parameters up yet. So we have them here. Studies. And that's what he's going to do today. We have the strategy right here. Here are the settings in here. And we still have to set it up. The settings are much more complex. This does not lend itself well to multi-time frame analysis, and that's why it took us, we estimated 3 months. It took us 8 months to get on Sierra. Now there's one more thing that I want to show you that I haven't configured it yet, and I made a shot at it, and I'll show you the study, but it's going to be a really powerful one, and we're going to have it perfect very shortly. Here's the color, and here's an alert. And I actually wrote this myself, and I'm no code writer. And this is it equals, this is ID1, SG1 greater than 100. And that means every time in this candle there's a bid-ask disparity of greater than 100 contracts. If it's greater than, if the disparity is to the long side, it's going to shoot a color right through the candle. Now we determine the color. It's all up to us. I haven't picked a color yet. Oh, here it's cyan. Now you have to add another one with the same code so it will shoot a line through any candle in which there's a bid-ask disparity of greater than 100 to the downside. What we're looking for again is a way to see who's in control of the market as the candle develops. We're looking at the point of control. We're looking for intense areas of buyers buying and selling. We're looking at the VWAP, and eventually we're going to have the ability. We're going to fire. It's an intra-candle signal, because as soon as that 100 ticks or 100 contracts is hit, it's going to fire through, and you're going to get a line. Now, if it hits multiple times, I have to find out what happens. I think once it hits, it stays, and you don't get the signal twice. But once it hit once, it's a significant signal to tell you that you may have a continuation, or if you're looking for an entry, it's going to be a great entry. And if you're standing aside on it because you don't feel that you have enough independent variables all set to take your trade, you're going to let a couple of independent variables go to take the trade. So that hasn't been configured yet. So this is all the information. Now let me just show you a couple other things. And you see how elegant volume can be. It's really just amazing. Oops. Now, there's one other one here that was really, really interesting that I was looking at. The problem with this is that, and this is something that I'm actually considering looking at, we can thicken the outline here. The thing that we don't get here is the intensity of the buying and selling. This is where you're going to trade solely off of market profile on an individual candle. And remember, the point of control is the key. That's where most volume crosses at a given tick. If most volume is crossing above resistance, you're likely to move through. If most volume is crossing below resistance, you're most likely to get, if most volume is trading below support, you're most likely to get a continuation to the short side. That's just, these are just the volume profile fanatics. Now, I like volume profile, but I also think that we need to look at the bid-ask disparity. And without that, we can't make the assessment. And I'm just giving you an idea of all the potential settings that you can use when you look at this. Now, here's the additional thing that we're working on setting up. Let me just have that apply, and I'll show you what we do lose that we need to have. On these candles, we have to apply market structure to these candles, price action. We don't know where the wick is, and we don't know where the candle body is here. So not only in this analysis, and this may be a modification in code on Sierra charts that Sergio is going to have to create, because there may not be a setting here that you can actually make this with, and when we make it, it's going to give our Sierra chart, I think, more power than any Sierra chart out there, because I don't know how many people have done that or how many software systems have encoded this additional component. And what we're going to look at is not only if I don't know, I'm having trouble talking. I shouldn't. I don't have a lisp. But what we're going to look for is that the point of control is located in the candle body and not the wick. From what I have done and an assessment of putting these two charts next to each other, Sierra and Ninja, the predictive power of a trade is much more powerful when the point of control sits in the candle body and is not in the wick. When it's in the wick, it's almost a failed, remember, a wick is fluff in Japanese candlestick dogma. It doesn't matter. And the size of the wick tells you, it's definitely information that provides you with who is in control of the market, the bulls or the bears. And when you get a very small candle body, it's telling you nobody's really in control. When you get almost a full candle body to the upside, it's telling you visually in an important way that the bulls are in control. That's why we look for engulfing candles, either to the upside or the downside, a piercing candle to the upside, or a dark cloud cover to the downside. It tells us there's enough buying or selling conviction in the formation we're taking to get an execution that's going to have a higher probability of getting follow through and getting a winner. And I do look at that. If we don't have a small, I'm not going to take an entry on a 1 or 2 tick candle body candle, no matter where the point of control is and no matter how big it is. Right now, I don't know if that can be configured here. And if it can't, we're going to change Sierra charts so that it creates a wick, the numbers can still be here, and the color can still be here, but it's going to show the wick moving through. Now, right now, we don't have, everything we've looked at, I don't think it can be done. I mean, Sierra, as advanced as the volume analysis is, it does not really regard very highly price action because it obliterates it, and there's nothing you can do. I mean, if you go to studies, and I've looked at this, and you go back to the numbers bars, and you go back to settings, there's no setting that allows you, this is the background type, to get a wick. None. These all obliterate the wick. Doesn't matter whether it's right aligned, left aligned, bid-ask difference, doesn't matter. We're never going to see a wick. And this determines the configuration of the candle we're looking at. We set it at 8 range, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we're getting a 9. I know Sergio set this at an 8, and I have to find out why we're getting 9 ticks here. I'll have to torture him afterwards. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we're getting 9 ticks, and maybe inadvertently he set this to a 9. And if we go to chart, I'm going to go to chart settings. hold on a minute here, candlestick. See, it doesn't change anything. Candlestick, because we have it, doesn't change anything. Because we have this set as a default going back. If we didn't have it, we would get a candlestick. But right now we can't get one. Candlestick up, outline, apply. We have nothing. So I'm kind of showing you a little bit about how to work it. But let me just make sure it's an 8 tick. Yep. See right here, it's set at 8. It's range and 8 ticks. So these are some of the things that we have to look at. So this is the kind of volume analysis that we're going to do. Let me see if there's anything else that I've gleaned, and I've spent an awful lot of time on this, I have to tell you. We had to put in a lot of helper indicators. And what the helpers do is they're going to allow you to analyze higher time frames. Now, we don't need these helpers in Ninja. We need the helpers on Sierra, because Sierra is really difficult to do the multi-time frame analysis. And Sergio was just a genius in creating these helpers to allow us to do what we need to do. I thought there were more, but this is the only helper you need. That's just helper 1. Now, all right, I'll show you one other thing here. Let me find it. Hold on a second. Here. Now, this is our volume profile, our market profile. And you can do a lot of different things with this. Now, these are subgraphs and these are alerts. And you can set a condition for the alert. The only alert condition that I like is the one that I talked to you about. So, visible bars. All right, let me cancel that. POC, I'm sorry here. Hang on one second. Okay. I have to go back and actually look here because it's so many inputs. I'd have to find which input I did to remove the histogram. But I changed something to actually get rid of it. And what I wanted to do was put that histogram back for you. Let me just look real quickly here. Because you can do a lot of really interesting things with the histogram. And I wanted to show those to you because I can't find where the histogram setting, the on-off is. I don't think Sergio knows where it is either. Since, I mean, I'm the one that's been doing okay, that's just the VWAP again. All right. Can't find it. I'm sorry. There may be people in the room that know it better than I do, and I'm not looking at questions right now. Hang on one sec. I'll look one more time. If I can't find it, I'm just going to let it go. Can't find it. Cannot find it for the life of me. Okay. I'm just going to have to close it because these are all the settings. These subgraphs and alerts don't matter. And what I wanted to show you was how you can actually show how much of the volume in a histogram is crossed at the bid and how much is crossed at the ask. But you're looking at an aggregate amount of data that's so large that it really doesn't have much influence on your trading entry. But you can look at a given price, and the histogram is going to be broken up into two colors. And one is price, is volume crossing at the bid, and the other is volume crossing at the ask. I think that all the important relevant data is here on the chart. Now, for some reason, I just evaporated the VWAP, but these are the essentials. And the only additional thing that we need to configure, and we're going to release it even without, it's released now, because in 48 hours we're going to have it perfect. The only thing that we need to do, and we need to change the Sierra coding, is to change the candle, to give it a wick, and give it a candle body, and look if the point of control is sitting on a wick. That's all you need to do. Now, let me just give you one other piece of information. Most traders use this to trade the E-mini S&P, and I think they do because they're reading each individual tick level, and they're looking for hidden areas, hidden buyers, hidden sellers. Now, remember, I may have talked to you about it in the past, but on a short trade, when you come into a long trade point of control, you're coming into an area of support. Because you know an enormous number of traders, or a significant number of traders, this is an area of intense buying. So, and let me change it to the histogram again. So you have to be very careful when you trade. But I wanted to show you, let's talk about this. Hold on one sec. I'm just going to change this back to from the full background to the market profile, the volume profile. And close. So what you're looking at now are individual candle levels which act as areas of support and resistance. Now, when traders talk about hidden areas of support and resistance, this is what they're talking about. This is a whole stacked area of intense buying. And when price comes down, look how it never, well, it does penetrate it. It goes right through it. But this is what traders are looking for. They're looking for this area right here of intense buying or intense selling, acting as support and resistance. So that's really it. This is sort of a little bit of an intro. I'm sorry I couldn't give you the histogram. The histogram has important features. But what I was saying is that most traders only trade the E-mini with this. And the reason they do is I think they're honing in too much on the micro data. They're not honing in on the point of control. They're not honing in on the VWAP. They don't have the ability to look at order flow or the independent variable of momentum or money flow or background bias. So when they trade the E-mini, they really have an enormous amount of problems. Now I can change this contract to the E-mini. Let me try to do it. Sergio, can you come in and change the contract for me? I'm just going to have Sergio do that real quickly. Let's change it to a 5-range E-mini. And if we pull this down, we can see how the market's doing behind us. And see that the NASDAQ is slowly fading into the woodwork, slowly. And E-mini is here. But the one thing you will see is we got no volume. We're hitting the value area low here, and price has been bouncing off of it. Now maybe Sergio's on the phone. I wanted him to show me. Hang on 1 second. Let me see if he's on the phone. Hang on 1 sec. Okay, Sergio was just reminding, I'm sorry, is that the background bias and all the others are set for an 8 range. So we're not going to get background bias, order flow, momentum. These are all 8 range settings. So all we can look at here is just individual candle configurations. That's all. And we can just spread it out and look where the point of control is versus support and resistance. And what we're going to do is we're going to really study this. We don't want to look as a retrospective analysis, but you can see in this candle, got a lot of volume above the point of control. Here it's about evenly balanced. Here more volume above. Here fairly evenly balanced. But we've got nice stacked buyers. And here we have more volume below. More volume below. Here's more volume below on an up candle. So it's not, believe me, it's not, we need a significant entry. But I just want to show you the meaning of these volume parameters, how we're going to leverage them. Again, what they mean and how important they are to trading and how it's going to add a new dimension to our trading. We're only 48 hours away from getting all the glitches out of Sierra, and we're going to send it out in a package. And we're a couple of weeks away from being able to transport some of the volume data that we have from Sierra onto Ninja. Again, the most important parameter is we need a candlestick here. We need to look at market structure and price action really closely. We can't just trade this without knowing how much is wick and how much is candle body. I'd be willing to bet you, though, that the point of control almost always hits on the candle body because there's so much buying or selling conviction. It'd be hard for me to believe that that was overrun and ultimately led to a wick. But that's what we have to look at. So that's really it for today. I mean, and let me tell you, this is the kind of information you're going to find hard to come by. Now, what I didn't tell you, and that I have to do more work on, is does it predict a bounce or break? Well, I did actually, of right here, of this upside resistance. And you'll notice right here that this point of control doesn't break it. So can you take a short trade at the close of the candle, or can you take a short trade one tick below the point of control? So if you do take a trade one tick below the point of control at an area of resistance, what is the predictive power of doing that? How often is it going to work? So it adds a lot of additional potential trading parameters, may give us more entries, and may also prevent us from taking losers at areas of support or resistance, calling tops and bottoms. The one thing I can say is even with a sophisticated volume analysis like this, traders are constantly getting run over. Now, I know that there are a couple of systems that look for repeated hits on stacked sells to bring the trade down. They don't tell you, though, what the positive predictive value of the trade is. We have to see. Here's an area right here. You've got a pivot, which is not broken. The point of control is below the pivot. Would you take it short one tick below the point of control and take the short? These are questions I can't answer, but we're going to look at it. But you can see all the different analytics that we have and all the additional configurable trades that we may look at. It may make our trading a lot easier, and it also may make it a lot more, give it more precision. So let me see if there are any questions. I hope I didn't confuse everybody in the room here. Okay, hold on. Listen, John, we're working on that for sure. We are. On making all those indicators stable and repeatable for all customers, believe me. I got Sergio working on that now, believe me. That's a major priority, and I know you've had some problems, John, and I really apologize. I have to tell you, though, 99% of the traders don't have that issue. But I do know that it has been a problem for you, and I'm going to give you whatever support I can. I know I've gotten some emails from you, and I hope I've returned them. But I want to get your platform up and running and perfect. I really do. But at the same time that we're looking, the mandate we have in that area, we always want to look into the future to see if we can make things better. It's very easy to take on Sierra. Just a matter of configuring the chart and making one simple coding change, and that is making these candles create a wick and a candle body. And I don't think that that's a big issue. Once we get that, Sierra will project exactly the same type of volume. We'll create a volume analysis more sophisticated than Ninja, Then we'll stabilize the whole packages, do nothing more until we do that, and then we'll move forward with the more advanced volume analysis. I just want, the thing is, I just want to make you aware of what's out there. And the fact that we're going to be on Sierra on Monday and stable and have a nice package. I just want to show you all the additional ways that you can leverage volume that in Trading Ninja you just haven't been able to do in the past. So that's really it. Now it may be that a lot of this doesn't give us any more predictive power than what we have now, since we have not analyzed it on 2 years of market replay data. We don't know, and in the end, it may not be better than order flow, momentum, the quants, and the cash quants, and they may add no additional dimension to what we already have, in which case we won't use them. But we're just looking. That's all I'm saying. And I wanted you to be aware, because people oftentimes use the term VWAP, and they use certain terms, and as professional traders or retail traders who are looking to be profitable, I want you to be aware of all the terms, all the analysis, and all the sort of stuff that they're throwing at you, so that you can come at it from an area of of edification and understanding, rather than just have to have to scratch your head and wonder, hey, is that important for me to know? And the VWAP is very important for you to know, and we're going to get that configured, if possible, on Ninja soon. So that's it, everyone. I hope you got a lot out of this, because it does really show you how much power volume brings to the trade, and why order flow is so key of an analysis to make. It's really an important metric, and it's really our most important single indicator. When you have it with you on the trade, it really helps your trades. So listen, everyone, have a really great afternoon. Any questions, any emails, just feel free to send them to me. If you weren't here or you want to get this on a link, we're going to send it out to you. So have a really great afternoon, and John will take care of it, I promise you. So take care, everyone, and have a really great afternoon. Bye-bye all.